expertise in airports.
I think the more expertise, the better. But, I guess sooner than later, we really need to get it done. So this is the issue.
Maybe we didn't make that decision.
I didn't have the wherewithal because of the way that it all happened.
That's right.
At that stage. But I've been not so aggravated that night.
You're on.
So just to raise your hands, councillors, you can all hear me.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone's there. So we're back in open council now. I just ask that you bear with me. I'll go through and read the motions as they were moved. And at the end, I'll ask that someone confirm that that is correct. So CR 4.1, which was tender supply and delivery of ductile iron cement line pipe, water and sewer fittings and valves. Two recommendations. One was to accept the tender from Cadia Group Proprietary Limited as a single source supplier of categories 1 and to 3 for the period of 1st of January 2020 to 31st December 2021. Recommendation 2 was subject to satisfactory performance, allow a further 12-month optional extension from the 1st of January 2022 to the 31st of December 2022 for all categories. CR 4.2, tender supply and delivery of water meters. There were two recommendations. One was to accept tender from Ulster Metering Proprietary Limited as a single source supplier for the period 1st January 2020 to 31st of December 2022. Recommendation 2 was subject to satisfactory performance, allow a further 12-month optional extension from the 1st of January 2023 to the 31st of December 2023. Agenda item CR 4.3, tender supply and delivery of bulk cationic bitumen CRS. Two recommendations. One was to accept the tender from Fulton Hogan Industries Proprietary Limited as a single source supplier from the period 1st of January 2020 to 31st of December 2021. Recommendation 2 was subject to satisfactory performance, allow a further 12-month optional extension from the 1st of January 2022 to the 31st of December 2022. Agenda item CR 4.4, tender supply and delivery of hardware. Two recommendations. That was part of the motion. Was to accept the tender as a panel source tender of suppliers for the period 1st January 2020 to 31st of December 2021. And subject to satisfactory performance, allow a further 12-month optional extension from the 1st of January 2022 to 31st of December 2022. CR 4.5, again, two parts. Accept tender as panel source tender of suppliers for the period 1st of January 2020 to 31st of December 2021 for both categories 1 and 2. Part 2 was subject to satisfactory performance, allow a further 12-month optional extension from the 1st of January 2022 to the 31st of December 2022 for both categories 1 and 2. Agenda item CR 4.6, tender supply and delivery of passenger vehicle, truck and earth moving tyres. Point 1 was accept the tender from Bridgestone Australia Limited, trading as Bridgestone, be awarded as a single source supplier for the period 1st of January 2020 to the 31st of December 2021. And 2, subject to a satisfactory performance, allow a further 12-month optional extension from the 1st of January 2022 to the 31st of December 2022. CR 4.7, tender supply and delivery of bulk water treatment chemicals. 3 parts. Accept tender from Exxon Operations Proprietary Limited as a single source supplier of Schedule A, which is chlorine gas for period 1st of January 2020 to 31st of December 2021. 2, accept the tender from Chemprod Nominees Proprietary Limited, trading as Omega Chemicals, as a single source supplier of Schedule B, which is aluminium sulfate, and Schedule D, sodium hypochlorite, for the period of from the period 1st of January 2020 to the 31st of December 2021. And 3, subject to satisfactory performance, allow a further 12-month optional extension for Schedules A, B, and D from 1st of January 2022 to the 31st of December 2022. Agenda item CR 4.A, rescission motion, Omerdale Brook Bridge tender evaluation. That the motion passed is item CR 2.2, tender number 8/2020, Omerdale Brook Bridge tender evaluation at the Upper Hunter Shire Council meeting on the 28th of January 2020, which is noted as follow, be rescinded. The motion rescinded was that CR 1.2, tender number 08/2020, Omerdale Brook Bridge tender evaluation, that Council 1 accept the tender 08/2020 from Bridge and Marine Engineering Proprietary Limited, 18 Sawmill Circuit, Hume, ACT 2620, for the design and construction of the replacement of Omerdale Brook Bridge for a total lump sum of $1,037,498, inclusive of GST, subject to a satisfactory finding from financial capacity report. Provide delegated authority to the General Manager to conduct all relevant functions under the contract. So just noting that that motion that I have just read was rescinded. Agenda item CR 4.9, tender 08/2020, Omerdale Brook Bridge tender evaluation. So following on from the rescission motion. 1, the Council award the contract to the tenderer so named in the confidential report, and 2, full details of the successful tenderer are published on Council's website as soon as the contract has been entered into in accordance with clause 179 of the Local Government General Regulation 2005. Agenda item CR 4.10, tender Scone Regional Airport aerodrome and ground lighting upgrade. The Council 1 declined to accept any tenders for the Scone Regional Airport aerodrome and ground lighting due to the complying acceptable tenders being over budget as per section 178 1B of the Local Government General Regulations 2005. 2, note the reason for declining to accept any tenders, as it would be advantageous for Council to enter direct negotiations with a suitable supplier for the following reasons. Entering into negotiations is likely to provide an improved environmental outcome with possible installation of solar lighting. Entering into negotiations is likely to provide improved value for money for a complying MOS 139 aerodrome ground lighting system. The prices from the tenders resulted from a competitive tender process are reflective of the current market prices, and these prices can reasonably be used as a basis for negotiation. To invite fresh tenders would take considerable time and add additional cost to Council and other tenderers. Project delay has the potential to jeopardise grant funding. Project delay has potential to cause problems due to the lack of reliability of the existing old aerodrome ground lighting. And it will be possible to achieve a negotiated outcome in less time than to enter into a new tendering process again. Point 3 was enter into negotiations with any person, whether or not the person was a tenderer, with a view to entering into a contract as per section 178 3E of the Local Government General Regulation 2005. And point 4 was prepare a report to Council on the outcomes of the negotiations. Agenda item CR 4.11, 4.11, construction of the new Warbird Visitor Attraction and Airport Terminal building at Scone Airport, so tender off. That Council declined to accept any of the tenders for the Warbird Visitor Attraction and Airport Terminal building at Scone Regional Airport, and enter into negotiation with a view to entering into a contract as set out in section 178 3E of the Local Government Regulations 2005 Act. Note the reason for declining to accept any of the tenders is that the budget is insufficient to cover the lowest assessed tender amount and a contingency amount for variations in assessed risks. 3, the reasons for determining to enter into negotiations with the 2 lowest priced tenderers and others if required is that the tenders from the 2 lowest priced tenderers, although above the pre-tender estimate, were complying tenders, and it would be potentially advantageous for Council to enter direct negotiations. Point 2, entering into negotiations with 2 lowest priced tenderers only will provide pricing competition while facilitating negotiations for the tenderers and Council. Point 3, the ability to receive prices from other firms other than the 2 lowest tenderers provides flexibility and competition to obtain the best value for money. Recommendation 4 was prepare a report to council on the outcome of the negotiations. CR 4.1 is the tender Scone Regional Airport airside infrastructure upgrade. Move that council decline to accept any of the tenders for the Scone Airport airside civil works due to the tenders being over budget as per section 178 1B of the Local Government Regulation 2005. Point 2, note that the reason for declining to accept any of the tenders is it would be advantageous for council to enter direct negotiations with a suitable supplier for the following reasons. Point 1, the prices from the tender as resulted from a competitive tender process are reflective of the current market prices, and these prices can reasonably be used as a basis for negotiation. Point 2, to invite fresh tenders would take considerable time and additional cost to the council and other tenderers. Point 3, a project delay has the potential to jeopardise funding that has been received by council via the Building, Regional Economies, Environment and Tourism Fund. Point 4, it will be possible to achieve a negotiated outcome in less time than to enter into a tendering process again. Recommendation 3, enter into negotiations with, with the two lowest tenderers being tenders A and B in table 1, the attached report as per section 178 3E of the Local Government Regulation 2005, and recommendation 4, prepare a report to council on the outcome of the negotiations. If anyone is still awake, would they like to move that all of those motions were moved as read in the affirmative? So I have Councillor Fisher has moved it and Councillor Driscoll has seconded it. Any further questions, comments or discussion about my representation of those motions? All in favour? And against? It is moved that they were all moved in the affirmative as read. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Sorry that took so long, but no one's more sorry than me. Thank you and stay well.
Declare the meeting closed today.
The meeting is closed at
8:01 PM.
8:01. Watch us.
Thank you.
Council's still talking.